Hey y'all, it's me, Shemeka. I had a really bad day today at work. I work at the fish shipwreck. Y'all heard of the fish shipwreck? Yeah. I'm like the head cook there, and my manager came to me today and said he needed to talk to me, right? So I was like, okay, what you need to talk to me about, Mr. Charlie? And so he was like, well, it's kind of personal. So I'm like, well, what is it, Mr. Charlie? So, I thought he was finna get on me about being late this morning because I was real late for work. I had to catch like 3 buses to get to work because he wanted me to come in so early. He won't send nobody no ride. And I had to get my children to school. So, I was late, but I got on in there, got in the kitchen and, started prepping things and getting everything rolling and everything. So, I thought that's what it was about. But he was like, no, it's not about that. And so I said, well, what is it, Mr. Charlie? And so he said, well, I had some complaints on you. So I said, complaints? And so he was like, yeah, some complaints. And so I was like, well, what kind of complaints? He said, well, some of the customers have been complaining that you have a body odor. And I was like, what, a body odor? And he was like, yeah, a body odor. And I was like, how you gonna believe something like that? I said, I ain't got no body odor. I'm like thinking like, what they talking about? How they gonna say I got a body odor, y'all, when I'm all the way in the back of the kitchen? I'm all the way in the back, y'all. I mean, it's way back, okay? And I have on my gear, I got on my mask, I got my net on, everything. All I do all day, y'all, is fry fish and shrimp. So if anything they smell it's the fish and the shrimp. I definitely ain't got no body odor. So I told him, I said, I don't have no body odor, Mr. Charlie. And he was like, well, that's what they say. And I said, well, how they know I got a body odor, Mr. Charlie? And he said, well, when you came to the front of the counter with the tartar sauce, they got a whisk of funk. And I'm like, a whisk of funk? And he was like, yeah, a whisk of funk. And I was like, come on, Mr. Charlie, now you're going to believe that? He was like, well, I have smelt you too before. And I said, what you mean, Mr. Charlie, you done smelt me before? How you going to say that, Mr. Charlie? I've been working for you for 20 years. How you going to say that I got some whisk of funk? Come on, Mr. Charlie, now you lying on me. He's like, no, Shemeka, I'm not lying on you because I smell you right now. And I was like, what you mean you smell me right now? He was like, yeah, you're musty. And I was like, no, I'm not, Mr. I said, no, I'm not, Mr. Charlie. So he was like, look, check yourself. I said, what you mean check? I said, check yourself. So I leaned down and okay, well, I do have like a little twang, okay, Mr. Charlie. That's what I told him. I said, I got a little twang, but everybody have a little twang. I mean, when you working all day, you in the back, in the kitchen, you ain't got no air conditioning, you ain't got no fan, you sweating. Of course, you're going to be a little musty. You're going to have a little twang, but I ain't funky. He was like, no, you have a funk. And so he was like, if you can't get this under control, Shemeka, I'm going to have to let you go because I can't have you working around food, and got a body odor. And I'm like, Mr. Charlie, now you trying to take my job from me now. You taking my livelihood. He was like, yeah, because you got to get this odor under control. And I was like, come on now, Mr. Charlie. Now, I ain't like that. And so he was like, here. And so he reached down in his bag, right? And he gave me this. Some black soap, y'all. And so I'm like, what is this? And he was like, it's soap. And I said, what you trying to say? He said, I need you to use it. He said, if you want to keep your job, I need you to go now to the bathroom and I need you to go and wash under your arms and anywhere else you need to wash because you have a body odor. So I was like, you want me to take this soap and go in the bathroom and clean up? He was like, yes, or you won't have a job. So I was like, Mr. Charlie, how you gonna do that like that? How you gonna tell me I'm fucking and make me bathe? Let me tell you something. I don't take baths every day, okay? I don't take baths every day because see, my grandma she was from the islands. And she told me years ago that you don't supposed to take no bath every day because what it does, it take all your nutrients and make your skin real dry. So you don't need to bathe every day, Mr. Charlie. And I ain't finna use your soap, Mr. Charlie, because I don't have to take no bath every day. And sometimes I don't have deodorant because I got 10 children and they use up all the deodorant. I get tired of buying deodorant. So don't worry about my deodorant and don't you tell me nothing about no soap. And I was like, I'm not using that. So he said, well, if you want to keep a job, Shemeka, you're going to have to use the soap. And so I was like, Mr. Charlie, Mr. Charlie.